Good morning, John. Thank you for being here.
Yes, good morning.
So I will start with an easy question for you. What's the essence of life and why are we here on Earth?
What's the essence of life? Simple question. I think that each individual has a set of priorities, a set of values in their own life. And whatever that is, it's unique. They have a desire to fulfill that. Some people, it may be dedicated to raising a beautiful family. Some people may be wanting to grow a business. Some may be involved in social causes. Some may be health and fitness. But whatever is most important to the individual, we have a desire to want to fulfill that. And then collectively, socially, we have a desire to thrive and contribute collectively to the advancement of the human experience. So I think that there's an individual essence that we want to do something we love to do, want to be loved and appreciated for who we are, based on what we value most. And then also we want to contribute, make a difference in the world and contribute to the world and make it a greater place than when we started.
And how can someone achieve fulfillment in family?
Well, a family, the smallest unit of society, smallest basic unit, is made out of individuals with unique set of priorities and values, things that are important, that are different. And the mastery of learning how to respect the other individual and learn how to communicate what you value in terms of the other family members' values allows them to feel love and appreciation for who they are, because their identity revolves around what they value most. So each individual is going to desire for their individual unique expression and then also their own collective making a difference in the family and contribute to the family. So the wisest thing to do is to know what we really value most and then care enough to respect the other person to communicate what we want in terms of what they want. And if we do, just like in the sales process, if we care about the customer, we tend to have a customer continue sustainable. And our relationships are sustainable if we learn to respect the other individual and communicate in their values.
So where are the conflicts within families come from?
Well, most of the time it's because each individual, because they have a unique set of values, they think they see the world through their eyes and they filter their world through those values. And they think that that's the world. When people with a different set of values see a different world. And so if we are puffing ourselves up, inflating ourselves and think our world is the only world and we don't care and respect enough to know what other people's values are and try to see through their eyes, we'll have difficulty communicating with them and we'll have conflict. And the conflict is a feedback mechanism to let us know that we're not respecting their values. We're either projecting our values and trying to get them to live in our values, or we're subordinating to their values and us trying to get into live in their values, both of which create conflict.
So this means that within families, between man and wife, conflicts appear when they don't respect each other's values and they don't communicate in each other's values.
Yes.
So how about between parents and kids?
Not much different. We have this belief that somehow kids are blank slates, tabula rasa, and that we have to impose on them these set of values. But the truth is they have their own set of values that are emerging and evolving through their own life. And if we think that we need to fix them and change them and mold them completely, we're not honoring that they have a unique expression. And so a combination of what we want to introduce to the child as far as social, cultural values, we also want to make sure that we respect them and communicate those ideas in terms of their values. Again, we're selling ideas to them. And just like a customer, if we don't meet their needs, they don't listen and they don't want to buy our ideas. So if we respect the children enough to communicate what we have that we feel will help them in their life, in society, we want to make sure we do it with the respect in their own values. If we do, they'll be receptive, there'll be less resistance, there'll be less labels on the kids, less defiance, and more appreciation because you're helping them.
Thank you, John. So let's speak about business for a moment. How can someone achieve success in business, in career?
Well, I always say before somebody pursues that, to make sure they really have a desire and value to do it. I ask people sometimes by the thousands, how many want to be financially independent? And everybody puts a hand up. And then I find out how many of you are financially independent. Most people put their hand down. So many people have a fantasy about being wealthy, but they don't have the values that allows them to actually accumulate buying assets and building wealth. They want immediate gratification and buying consumer items and buy things that depreciate in value. So they don't ever accumulate the wealth. So they have a fantasy, but they don't have the values that will lead them to it. And the same thing in business. Many people have a desire, or at least an expectation to build a big business, but if they don't have the values to be able to have the desire to do the actual action steps that lead to business, they'll frustrate themselves. And they'll end up banging their head against the wall trying to get this thing to move. So the wise thing to do is either have those set of values, link the responsibilities of building a business to your values, or hiring the people with a set of values. Because not all businesses have to be done by you. You can delegate them. Richard Branson has 300 companies. He doesn't run them all. He has specialists that run them that have a high value on running those businesses and learning the art of mastering business management. So if you have a high value on it, you'll probably pursue it as an entrepreneur. If you don't, you could either change the values or link the responsibilities to what you do value, or you can hire people around you through delegation and incorporate business development.
Thank you. And how would a family look like where the wife is focused on family and the man is focused on business, for instance, and they sometimes have conflicts on why are you spending so much time in business and why are you spending so much time with kids, or the wife says take the kids and now spend some time with them. How can they get along?
Well, that's very, very common. I've seen that many, many times. Well, if we think that our values are right and we don't honor the other individual's values, we're going to project our values onto our mate. And when we do, we'll run into clashes because they have their own set of values, and they're not wrong, they're just different. And so I have an exercise that I encourage, which I will present in a program, that you ask the question, how specifically is what my husband is dedicated to, what his highest value in raising a business and making an income, how specifically is it helping me with my children and raising a family? And you answer that as many times as you can. Because if you can't see what they're dedicated to is helping you fulfill what you're dedicated to, you're going to self-righteously look down on them, and you're going to want to change them. And they're going to resist, and you're going to alienate the person you care about. And then you want to turn around and ask how specifically is what you're dedicated to, what's really inspiring to you, raising a beautiful family. How's it helping him build his business? If you can't answer that, you're not going to be able to communicate how important it is, the things you want done in terms of his values. And either one of you are going to end up with alternating monologues where you're speaking, he's not listening, he's speaking, you're not listening, instead of a dialogue. So the caring in us to find out what each of the people value, the parents, and how to communicate in those is very important. So linking those values is the first step. And respecting it, and knowing, and not living in a fantasy that we're both supposed to be having the same values. That's a fantasy. If any two people are exactly the same, one's not necessary. And I see this so many times, that the husband or wife wants the other one to be just like them. But if any two people were really, truly the same, you would not grow. You'd be stagnant. So you have to have these complementations of opposites. The family dynamic strives for an androgyny. It's looking for a blend of the masculine and feminine forces of nature, you might say, and the testosterone and estrogen nature. And so if one is very resourceful and one's very, very productive, then you're going to have children in business. That's not uncommon. Somebody's got to produce the business to pay for the children, and somebody's got to raise the children to have a family. Both are needed.
We are coming from a culture when women sacrifice themselves for family or for their husbands or for their kids. How they can avoid doing that?
Well, the more empowered we are in more areas of life, the less likely we're vulnerable to dependency. And if you both agree on playing the roles as a mother and raising family and a business, if you both agree on it, you both love doing it, you both honor that and you respect that, it works. It has worked for centuries. But today, women are not having to be only doing that. They can run businesses, they can create their own thing, they can go on to education, they can go and empower all areas. And that's a new thing in the last 100 years. And as a result of it, there's more of an androgynous, more of a balancing act, where now the men are not having to play all the roles of making income, and the women are not having to play only the roles of the family, and they can hire people to help them and delegate things. This allows a higher social status, a higher productivity, and also more diversity for the children, because the children also have specialists sometimes training them that the family couldn't do otherwise. So there's a balance to that and a value to that. But it's basically linking values and appreciating each other's values and giving yourself permission as a woman to go out and do exactly what you want to do. There's nothing stopping a woman from going out and running an amazing business or creating a social cause or doing whatever she wants to do. You have to give yourself permission to be yourself. If you have a dream to do that, why not give yourself permission to do it?
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.